ladies and gentlemen, the Tower of Adversity has, of course, reset. And what I wanted to do was actually take some time to figure out just how difficult or how much easier it's gotten compared to the last reset. I know that Zani is coming up soon. By the time this video launches, she might have already released, but I think it's definitely beneficial for us to take a stab at this content without her actually being in the game, because as we're all aware, buffs in the ToA, specifically the middle one, are usually tailored for the newer unit. And it's always beneficial to see how the older members of the roster that maybe aren't able to synergize as well with the buff, it's always beneficial to see how they can do, and just how tailored those buffs are. And so with that, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the different stages, all of the different enemies, and then talk about some of the best picks. Because of course, right, there are going to be some clear options, but maybe some ones in the background that you haven't really considered yet. We're going to start off with the middle tower first, because this is typically the most challenging for all players to take a look at. And right now, what we're going to see in the hazard tower is, first and foremost, for the resistance buffs, we're going to be seeing enemy spectral resistance reduction and arrow resistance reduction. So definitely makes sense with Zani coming up as the newest character, and, you know, Kachona coming out as the character in the second half. And with the ToA lasting for 27 full days, right, compared to the 2-week reset, this is going to bleed into the latter end of Kachona's banner. And we're likely going to see that arrow resistance reduction stay as the ToA resets and Kachona's banner actually, you know, goes its full duration. So that's going to be something to keep in mind for the ToA reset after this. On the other hand, though, we're going to have fusion resistance and glacial resistance having an increase of 10% as well. And that's naturally due to the fact that we're going to have the Dragon of Dirge as the first enemy over here. And then a full glacial lineup of the Dreadmane, the Patricius, and the Sentry Construct down here. And boy, oh boy, that's going to be a bit spooky for people that might have been relying on Carlotta to do all of their clears, because I do believe you might struggle a little bit if you're lacking sequence nodes on this side, because that's 3 enemies that are going to be resistant to her damage. So you might have to, you know, figure something out. So with that, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the buff now. So, heavy attack damage bonus is going to be increased by 20%, and hitting a target with intro skill applies 2 stacks of Spectral Frazzle. This effect can be triggered once per second, and then the Spectral Frazzle damage that you're going to be doing is going to be amplified by 100%. So, it's pretty clear, right? It's pretty clear that this is going to be tailor-made for Zani. And there's a reason why we're doing this clear right now without actually having her on the team. As we're all aware, when Zani enters into her Liberation mode, as you're seeing over here, Inferno mode, she's going to do attacks that are considered both heavy attack and Spectral Frazzle damage. And what that means is, boy oh boy, if you are pulling her and you are building her, she is going to be incredibly strong across all of these different stages. Phoebe is also going to be really good as well for a pretty simple reason. Phoebe is going to be really strong as well because, of course, right, Phoebe does a lot of heavy attacks, heavy attack Star Flash. She casts about 4 of them in a regular rotation if she's being used as a main DPS, and that by itself gains 256% damage amplification, right? Heavy attack Star Flash, right? And that means that you're going to get that 20% damage increase, as well as very consistent Spectral Frazzle stacks. This also means that if you are using Phoebe, you actually don't even need to use Spectral Rover on the team. You could run something like this if you want to, having like Mortifi as a buffer for even more heavy attacks, because, well, you're going to get your own source of Frazzle application. And that's going to be really nice. That's going to be really cool. We might actually test that one out because, of course, right, some people might be tired of using Spectral Rover by now. But of course, you can still use Spectral Rover as well if that's something that you want to do. Just keep those 2 together. And of course, right, you're also going to want the Zani Spectral Rover or the Zani Phoebe combination as well. Zani's not going to have any issues building up Spectral Frazzle stacks with Rover, at least with this buff active, because Rover is going to be able to get 10 out of the 19 stacks required in a regular rotation with Zani. And then you're going to get the 6 additional ones just from using intro skills across your team. And that's going to make it pretty easy to get to like close to full blaze with her. We'll experiment with that when she does release, because this buff is going to be really powerful for her. Enemies in particular, they don't look too crazy, so there's not really anything too specific to call out. Another character that's going to be really good on this side is, of course, Gian, ladies and gentlemen. And you're still going to want that same Mortifi team with like Shorekeeper or Verena And what that means is that, in my opinion, Mortefi actually might be the most goated character in the middle tower currently, because he synergizes really, really, really well with heavy attacks, and heavy attacks are what's buffed, and the main heavy attackers in the game are Spectro and Arrow, and Phoebe and Zani both are able to get Spectro-Frazzle stacks from the stage itself. So we'll just go ahead, give it a stab with the 1.0 roster, because everybody knows Gian is going to be up for a rerun. And I might as well show you all what his pure strength, his pure power is looking like, even without a Nightmare Echo.
Leave me alone. Inferno!
Astral modulation.
We're just doing some swapping during the concerto buildup over here.
Tell truth from facade. Burn to ashes! Testing out.
We'll swap over to Gian. And now we're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen.
Vanel! Don't you worry.
Pretty decent damage.
From the heart. Stay calm.
Burn!
The iron graft you knew.
Fury boils. Settle. Tell truth from facade. As you wish. Testing. You're wide open. Break.
We almost two-rotated. We almost two-rotated.
Ordained.
Not bad, huh?
In war with time.
Fury
And do keep in mind that Mortefi, while he is buffing a lot,
Don't you worry.
Mortefi does have a resistance reduction on this stage. So yeah, we clear that pretty well. We clear that pretty well with Gian. That's a good bit of fun. I always have fun using this team. You can play it at a much higher level if you start incorporating like those swaps while you're doing your concerto rotations on your sub DPS and your support, and you start doing some of those dash cancels as well. That's an S1 Gian,
The battlefield is
and
dynamic.
do keep in mind that
Do
his
not let your
S1
guard down.
only gives him a second charge on his skill, which is like, it's more of like an ER thing as opposed to a damage thing. It doesn't actually do that much for his rotation. And so yeah, the first character ever released in the game is still doing a ton of stuff. Now, let's try out Phoebe with Mortefi on this side, and we're gonna be giga over capping on crit rate. Yeah, we're gonna be at like 110%. Let's see how this team works. I'm interested in seeing how this team works because we do have Frazzle stacks that are gonna be constantly available, even when we don't have Spectral Rover on our team.
Stay calm.
Leave me alone. Burn!
Okay, why am I almost dead?
Iron graft you knew.
Fury boils.
Wait, why is bro like literally in Africa?
to
Like, why did he spawn that high?
Testing output.
Sentinel protect me.
Oh, we're in a bit of an issue over here. Oh yeah, we're in a bit of an issue in multi-wave.
Be my salvation.
Oh yeah, this team is a little bit suspect in multi-wave. I will be honest with you.
I call upon the sentinel. Ordained.
It's okay. The damage is enough.
As you wish.
Okay. Loading. In war with time.
Fury boils. Inferno. I'm on my silence. Testing output.
Sentinel protect me. Answer me. Purify.
So you can see we still have 2 Frazzle stacks.
Together we stand.
Ooh, you know what? This team is a little bit sussy. It's a little bit sussy in with Mortefi because those Frazzle stacks are not popping as much as I would want them to.
What a clinger. As you wish.
Astral modulation. Load.
Fury boils. Inferno.
Sentinel protect me. Descend. Together we stand.
Oh, dear. I mean, it still clears pretty damn fast, actually. Yeah, that's still cleared, and that's an S0R1 Phoebe. So, it definitely would have been better if we actually... Maybe you do actually want a Spectrofrazzle applier. Wait, because Phoebe in Absolution mode definitely is, like, not feeling that good there. I'm gonna be entirely honest. Yeah, those Frazzle stacks just fell off like crazy. But that's an example of what it looks like when you're goofing around a little bit, I guess. And you'll still clear with S0R1 units. Glad we experimented with that one. Now let's go ahead and see what it looks like with an... I'm gonna be honest here, like an actual Frazzle team. And not like
leaving the past
the
behind.
griefing that I was doing before. We're gonna put Rover on Moonlit Clouds. And let's go ahead and see how the cookie crumbles over here.
In war with time.
Oh dear.
Swift and resolute. Strike from the shadows.
I actually kind of messed up with this team.
Sentinel, protect me. Judgment time. Bluebird, be my salvation.
No hesitation.
Purify.
All right.
From the soul. At your disposal. Yeah, diminish.
I sense your weakness.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Astral modulation.
The sentry's a little bit hard to hit with Rover.
Swift and resolute.
It's a little bit hard to hit with Rover.
The end has
Yeah,
come.
I'll give you that. It's a little bit hard to hit.
Sentinel, protect me. Answer me. Together we stand.
No hesitation.
In the name of Imperator. Ordained.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, that's not good. That freeze is a little bit annoying.
Swift and resolute. Moment of resonance. One with
Sentinel, protect me. Crystal.
Honestly, the time is almost similar.
Together we stand.
Yeah, the time is almost similar. Gonna be real here. Mortifee's outro buff is just that strong, guys. And getting Mortifee's outro buff with like free Frazzle stacks, hey, I guess it's not that crazy. Now, let's go ahead, let's move on and check out some of the side towers. Because boy, oh boy, I have some very, very sad things to say about the side tower. On the left one, it's actually not that bad. The left one is actually pretty good. It's pretty fair. When Resonators cast an intro skill, their attack is increased by 5% per second, stacking up to 4 times. So every single character in the game can basically leverage this one. You get an attack stacking buff. It goes up to 20% just from casting an intro skill. And then at max stacks, you gain a 40% resonant skill damage bonus. It's a good buff. It's a good buff that pretty much every single unit in the game can benefit from. Those that do resonant skill damage are clearly going to benefit the most, and it's clearly tailored towards a character like Chang Li, who does a lot of resonant skill damage. However, you're also going to get a lot of benefit from using a character like Carlotta, who also does resonant skill damage, and of course, a character like Jinxie, who also does resonant skill damage. But even if you're not using a resonant skill damage dealer, you're still going to get a 20% attack buff just from using an intro skill, which if you're not using, I'm not really sure what's going on. The only downside is that the buff will disappear when the Resonator is switched off the field, which, ironically enough, is what you kind of do when you're playing Chang Li. So it's like, it kind of works for Chang Li and it kind of doesn't at the same time. So I would say the best characters for this are, despite the fusion buff, it's actually like these two because they actually stay on the field and deal their damage. For the enemies that you're going to be having on the final side, the first 3 are def super easy, don't worry about them. You're going to have a Hu Chief squad, which is super annoying because they have like the tornadoes that'll mess you up. And then you have the Monkey, which is one of the easiest bosses in the game. Very, very easy to hit. Bro has like very easy parry windows. Not really a struggle at all. People are really used to him by now. On the right side though, this is where stuff gets a little bit stinky. I'm gonna be real here. This is where stuff gets a little bit stinky. On the right side, when Resonators cast with the Glacial Resistance Reduction, when Resonators cast their Liberation, their attack is increased by 5%, which is cool. They gain Resonant skill damage 10% for 3 seconds. And this is the part that's just not cool. Because this is the same exact buff that we've seen before that is specifically tailored to Carlotta, because I don't think there's anybody else in the game that can even maintain uptime on this. You basically need to cast your Resonance Liberation 4 times and within 3 seconds of each cast. And believe me when I say no other unit except Carlotta can do this. So I just find it baffling that they have like this buff, which is just strictly worse than this one, because they kind of are the exact same bonuses of 20% attack and 40% resonance skill. This one just stacks up from using an intro skill and no other inputs. This one stacks up by needing you to cast your resonance liberation 4 times, and it's the same exact buff, 20% attack and 40% resonance skill. So this buff is just straight up a less accessible version that only Carlotta can get. The bosses aren't hard, right? It's just level 90 bosses, which are not really an issue at all. But the thing is that why just have one buff that is strictly worse than others? Like, they're the same exact bonuses, and the effect is still removed when the active resonator leaves the field. It's just a worse version, and it only works on Carlotta, which is just like, maybe they're doing it on purpose to show like how dog shit the buffs can be, but why have this one in here that's just strictly better and more accessible to every single unit in the game? And then this one's like, oh yeah, by the way, only Carlotta can use this one. You're gonna see that if you're a well-invested, you're a well-built player, this isn't an issue. But it is a pretty big issue if you're somebody that's maybe newer to the game. You don't have a lot of characters built, and you're, you know, maybe like level 80 or 85, or you don't have like the best echoes ever, and you're just trying to clear. Right? This is only an issue for newer players, because if you're a more well-invested account, you'll be fine. Right? You don't even need to worry about the buffs to clear. And this is the thing, right? I don't know why we're doing this buff again when we had it last time and there's no reason to have a buff this specific. Let's go ahead, let's give these floors a try and see what we can do from here. Why don't we run like this team for fun and see where we go with this?
Plan with convention.
All right, we got Blazing Brilliance, cool. I guess we'll just run a Chang Li Brant team and just see how this one does.
In the limelight!
Be reduced to cinders.
Sever! Blow for me! The fruit of evolution!
Perish in flames.
More passion! Epic shot! Brad salutes you.
Take form.
Ouchie!
Together revenge.
At the helm! Climax of the show! Listen carefully.
Oh, why is bro just hopping around like this?
Together revenge. Who's the caged bird now?
Sever! Ha! Luminous energy!
Epic
Fruit of
shot!
evolution!
In the limelight!
Bro's just hopping around on me.
At the
Oh, I
helm.
canceled my own anchor.
Listen carefully.
I canceled my own anchor. That's
Together
embarrassing.
revenge.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I canceled my own anchor, but as you can see, that's how easy the stage is. That's how easy the stage is with S0R1 characters. So, again, if they're fully built, it's not really an issue. That, and do keep in mind that these guys are a little bit annoying because they will, like, start stun locking you with their tornado. That's why I reset in the first place. Now let's go ahead. Let's just check out Infernal Rider and then give our final thoughts on this reset. We'll just try out a standard Jinsei team. I've got to find out a reason to use Cantarella
The
because
tides
I'm going to
have
be real here.
whispered of
This
your
character's kind of
arrival.
just been rotting on my bench for the longest time because I don't play Jinsei that often anymore. And so it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing with her. Let's give her a try.
There! Insta-Sophia. Sacred light.
I'll keep you company. Sink into the endless deep.
Oh dear.
Photosynth life is in everything. The fruit of ever together we fight. Heaven ordained. Banish all vice. Thus it ends.
Nice. Okay, we missed the crit there.
Take a breath and right here. Come on out, little critter.
Oh, we got interrupted. That's not very cool.
Evil be cleansed.
Sleep in the whispers of sirens.
The fruit of evolution. Together we fight. Out. Take form. Sacred light.
I'll keep you company. Surge of deep tides. Come on out, little critter.
Strike as one, oh star.
And
Heed my
I guess we'll
calling.
just finish him off here.
Take form. Thus it ends.
And that's that. That's that with the Cantarella team. I do think Jinxie is better with Cantarella than she is with Jeja. You get more coordinated attacks. You get like higher nukes. Cantarella can feel a little bit clunky to use sometimes. And with that nuke being cancelable just by being hit, sometimes I don't even know I'm casting it because of how many resonant skill casts she has. I think she has 3 separate ones in her kit. So that's going to be that. You can see that it wasn't the most challenging reset ever. We were actually able to play around a little bit, but that's because we do have heavy attackers. And so do keep that in mind. It could be a little bit rough and tough for you, especially on this side, if you're not using somebody that's ranged. If you're using somebody that's more melee, this Sentry Construct, bro, he flies around a lot. He flies around a lot. And so you want to keep that in mind. Using somebody that's ranged is going to make this feel a lot easier. A lot easier. My final thoughts on this reset are, I think that this buff isn't the worst thing ever because it is pretty general in the first place, but you can see that it's clearly tailored towards Zani and the fact that she does do Spectral Frazzle damage in her Liberation form. And the thing is that Zani's going to be good against the Dragon of Dirge, but I don't know how good she's even going to be against the Sentry Construct with how much it flies around and how melee focused her kit is. And Phoebe actually seems like the best character to actually use in this reset, as opposed to Zani, because of those clear advantages that she's going to have against this flying dude, which might waste a lot of time for some people. The right side is not too challenging at all, because the Infernal Rider isn't like the craziest fight ever, but I still think this bonus is like awful, and that it should just be updated to be more general. Left side is actually the best one overall, but it's got the most annoying enemies in the game, the Hu Chief Cyclone. So maybe that offsets the fact that the buff actually is, you know, okay. Right, and that the buff actually works for like a wide variety of teammates. All I know is that this middle tower, if you're using Zani with Phoebe, Confession mode, you will be absolutely destroying this thing without even thinking. Because having a Spectral Frazzle damage amplification of 100% is actually absurd if you're able to stack it up with all of the other buffs in Phoebe's kit. So we'll be testing that out once she releases. If this releases after she releases, then that'll be it from there. But do keep that in mind in the long run. So with that, let me know what you all think about this reset. I think it's okay, but it's also like a little bit weird. And this right buff is like really, really, really stinky. Peace out.